Welcome everyone to introducing the PodClass. Yay! Right, the class is officially in session. The PodClass has officially started. I am your host, God, Smart Video Girl. Can you hear me loud and clear? I have some new equipment going on, so I'm really excited. I'm real excited. So, yes, but let me know if you can hear me out there in the world. Thank you for being here with us tonight, with me tonight. Thank you for joining the podcast. Thank you for showing up for yourself, for saying yes to you, because that's really what this is about. You said yes to you, you know. I joke and I appreciate you guys and the feedback. And I hear some of you say, don't come to see my beautiful face. And I mean it. Don't come to see my beautiful face. Come to grow for yourself. Okay. We are here to learn and grow and become our most authentic selves. That's what introducing the podcast is all about. And this season, we have already done some deep diving. This is the fifth class of the season. In the first four classes, we talked about who are you when nobody is looking, right? Who is that? Who are you at your core when nobody is around, when you're not trying to perform for anyone? Who are you? Okay, then the voices that you hear are not yours. And that is distinguishing between distractions and then your inner voice. Who are you really tapping into? Okay, are you in touch with your intuition? And then we talked about discipline being self love in action, right? Because when you know better, when you know who you are, right? You know who you are at the core, and it resonates with you, and you hear the voices that you know that is yours, you are listening to your intuition, then you have to follow that. That's discipline. Discipline is following your intuition. Self love. This says that I respect myself enough to listen to what I say to myself. All right. And then we talked about gratitude being a frequency. Y'all know how much I love gratitude. You guys know how much I love gratitude. And today we are talking about healing. We are talking about healing. And this one is a big one because healing is remembering who you are. And a lot of times we talk about healing. Healing is a buzzword now, right? Who knows that healing is a buzzword? Everybody's talking about healing, 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 healing. But what does that really mean? And most of the time when we talk about healing, we're talking about overcoming something that somebody else has done to us. And we have already established on this in this podcast that we're not talking about what other people do to us. That's not what we're here for. We're here to work on ourselves. We're here to do the work that is us, right? We're here to do the work that is who we are. And healing is remembering who we are. Okay. And we're going to get to the root of that. We're not dismissing the things that happen to us. They're part of the journey of healing and remembering who we are, but that is not why we heal. We don't heal because somebody hurt us. We heal because we want to be our best selves. We heal because we want to show up and we want to remember who we are. We want okay. So let's get to the healing. Okay. So tonight's intention is not to fix ourselves, right? But we're going to understand ourselves. We're going to get back to understanding and knowing who we are, who we were created to be. That is what this healing is about. Okay. So listen, if you come here thinking that you know what you were going to talk about, you think, oh, healing is this and inner child. Okay. But we're really going to talk about, it's not about fixing ourselves, it's understanding ourselves. We're going to reframe what healing looks like. All right. So every day we are healing because every day we are on a journey to remember that we are that person. We are the sugar honey iced tea. Okay. That's right. You are. And if you forgot, you need to remember. You need to remember. All right. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So let's get into I don't want to do that part right now. So let's get into the announcements. Let's get into the announcements before we get into the session and some musical therapy too. I know we got some musical therapy coming up today. So let's talk about these announcements. We have a lot of good things coming up and some things that have happened. Okay. So let's see what we got going on. We have on April 7th, which is next Tuesday, I believe, right? Starseeds. If you know anything, I've been talking about Pronoia Starseed Podcast. Pronoia Starseed Podcast is a wonderful place. If you know that you are here to enlighten, if you know that you are here to gain some information, to share information, but if you know that you are here for more, you need to check out Pronoia Starseed Podcast. And the creator, my sis, Goddess Rael, has created a movie, y'all. She created a whole movie, so make sure you check that out. It's gonna go down. I'm actually in this virtual movie. I'm very excited. It's called like the Pronoia Starseed musical intros. So make sure you check that out. It's going to be on Tuesday, April 7th at 8 p.m. Make sure you check out the podcast interview I did with Nicole Thomas. I want to thank her so much. Thank you for those who took the time to listen to it and who gave me feedback on it. Who let me know. This one, again, one of my favorite interviews. If you really want to get to know more about me and what I do on a deeper level besides showing up here on the PodClass, check out this podcast interview I did. It is on Spotify and Apple Music, so if you look it up, you should be able to find it. All right. And then, oh yes, don't forget the blog, The Mind Behind the Vision. I still need to update it, but hey, if you are subscribed, you won't miss any of it. So thank you so much to those who have joined my Substack over there. And last but not least, this past weekend, your girl was a speaker at a women's authors celebration for Women's History Month, ending Women's History Month. And I spoke, the topic was Women with Vision, Seeing Beyond. And I spoke about, my topic of choice was, you are not crazy, you are called. All right. Reclaiming your inner sight. All right. And so this is kind of goes along with the intuition. And when you have vision, right, when you see things, and I'm someone who sees, and you saw what you saw, and you can see it clear as day. And sometimes the people around you can't see it just like they can't hear it. That's vision. You're not crazy, you're called. That's something for your eyes only. All right. That vision is yours. And one of the quotes that stuck out at the event was, women with vision don't need permission. Okay. If you have a vision, you don't need permission. You don't need your vision validated in order to say, yeah, that's what I saw. It's yours. So therefore, the vision is yours to hold. You're not crazy. You're called. You're called to hold that vision and to bring that vision to life. Hence, making visions visible, which is my thing. Peace and prosperity. Sister Maulisa, thank you for being here in the building today. So again, we are talking about today's topic is healing, is remembering who you are. We are going to get deep into this conversation in a second, right? And so make sure, last but not least, that you do grab the book, because I am going to talk about some of that today. So if you have the book, grab it. And I'm actually going to tell you what page to turn to, but we're going to listen to a little musical therapy, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about our topic today, which is remembering is healing. Healing is remembering who you are. Okay. So healing is remembering who you are. And I'm going to play one of my favorite songs, which is Becoming. And we're going to keep this moving. So again, journals, pens, book, water. We're about to get right into this class. We're going to be right back.
I had to change how I was living, so I changed the way I eat, changed the way I felt so I could change the way I speak. I stopped listening to music that was changing how I think, then I I'm taking care of me. Stressing about my future was messing up my sleep. Accepted all my losses, gave myself the space to breathe. Finally changed the things I wanted, now I know just what I need. You ain't living if you don't grow. Don't be afraid of what you don't know. There ain't a distance that I won't go. You say I'm different, but I hope so. I love who I'm becoming. Worked way too hard to get here, you can never tell me nothing. I'm becoming everything I wanna be and everything I love who I'm becoming. You can't tell me nothing about this person I'm becoming. I love who I'm becoming. My head was on the wall and now I'm coming up to breathe. Changed up on my old friends, they was changing up on me. You gon' lose some day ones when you trying to succeed. The price of evolution, consider that defeat. Life is full of lessons, don't take losses as defeat. So let go of the past, the goal is to be free. The goal is to be everything you're meant to be. Everything you're meant to be. You ain't living if you don't grow. Don't be afraid of what you don't know. There ain't a distance that I won't go. You say I'm different, but I hope so. I love who I'm becoming. Worked way too hard to get here, you can never tell me nothing. I'm becoming everything I wanna be and everything I love who I'm becoming. You can't tell me nothing about this person I'm becoming. I love who I'm becoming.
All right. Welcome to Introducing the PodClass. Welcome back, actually, to Introducing the PodClass. Tonight's topic is healing is remembering who you are on this journey to self-mastery and understanding who we are. I could have started off with this topic, and clearly this is the fourth one on the list. We've recapped what we've talked about. But when we get to this point where we're healing is remembering who you are, we're going to encompass a lot of the stuff that we've already talked about in this topic. And it's important that we address those things before we get to this point. Okay. And so I want to make a quick note. This episode may feel a little deeper. Okay. Okay. And so I encourage us to be gentle with ourselves in this lesson because you're literally going to be dealing with you. All right. So peace and blessing. I'm glad you love that therapy song. I love that as well. I'm glad that you love who you are becoming. I hope you do. I hope you do love who you are becoming. So let's get into it because I want to wait no more time. Okay, what is the inner child? That's what we're talking about today. Healing is remembering who you are, and healing, remembering who you are, is dealing with that inner child. Okay, so the inner child is those early experiences that shape your beliefs, and it's the emotional memory that lives in the body. Okay, so inner child in this sense of what we're talking about is uh those memories that you have from the past, right? And they may be traumatic. Most of the times they probably are. That's what we're talking about here. We're we're really talking about a moment in time or a place in time or a space in time in your past where there was an experience that shaped your belief, and a lot of time that came from something that was traumatic, especially when we're talking about healing and growing, right? A lot of us get stuck at a certain age. In the book I talk about by the age of 7 who we are is pretty much kind of programmed into us. We may not have a full awareness of it, but the programming of it is in us based on our environment, the people around us, the communities, our household, the school, all the things. By 7, we are, and we're aware of it at 7. Okay. And sometimes our inner child doesn't, we don't grow beyond that age. So this inner child that I'm talking about is something where we get stuck on the inside and we don't grow beyond that age internally. We still think, we still believe, we still act out in ways that are childlike based on something that has happened to us. And the longer that we separate ourselves from our inner child, right, with the healing, right, this is where we start to forget who we are. The inner child, the moment we leave our inner child, is when we start to forget who we are, right? We start to move away from the essence, the purity of who we are, and we get far from this, okay? So the inner child working is that separation, and the emotional memory lives in our body. So that inner child, that piece of you that you left at 7, 5, 6, 14, 16, whatever, wherever you left it, that inner child, and there could be several inner children in there, okay? You could have abandoned a lot of pieces of you along the way. Let's be clear, okay? That those pieces of you still live in you. So they may be sad, they may be afraid, they may be mad, okay? They may be scared. There are so many different things. And wherever you left that child, wherever you left that memory, it's stuck in your body. It's in there. It's in there, okay? It's like it lives in the walls type of thing. So just think about if something, you hear something knocking, you like something is in the walls. That's your inner child knocking, okay? So this is what the inner child is. So we people talk about it in such an abstract way, and they talk about it as if it's just one entity or several. It could be several moments. These are pieces or parts of you that you left behind on your journey that allowed you to forget who you were. Okay? They leave pieces, they have pieces and clues that lead to who you truly are. All right. So in this journey, right, remembering who we are in the healing, the goal is to bring inner child, present day self together to the table, have a conversation. Let's talk about this. It's you versus you. It becomes you versus you on this healing journey. Survival versus authentic self. Are you going to remember who you are, right? Or are you going to stay in survival mode? And what survival mode looks like is the scared inner child, the wounded inner child, those feelings, right? Those thoughts, those beliefs that are trapped in your body that are old and outdated that need an update. Those things either become your blueprint, which is usually based around survival, right? Or you're going to step into your authentic self, knowing what you know now, living how you have lived, surviving and thriving, believing, holding on to developing new ways of thinking and being, right? Are you going to, this is the you versus you, survival versus your authentic self. How are you going to grapple with this understanding, right? You got to understand where the inner child is coming from. You got to understand where the inner child is coming from. So, so behaviors that protected you. This is something that your inner child works on. This is worth with. They work on behaviors that protect you. They want to protect you. That is the goal. Okay? The inner child is like, oh, no, 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 we don't do that. Because, see, last time we did that, we got burnt. Right? But what your inner child doesn't realize is that, honey, that was 30 years ago. And we don't do that anymore. And we're okay with that. And we know better, so we do better. Right? Or we're not afraid of that big bad wolf anymore. We know what that is now, okay? Or patterns that no longer serve you. Okay, baby, we know that we can't eat cereal all day. Okay. Because they can be as trivial as things like that childlike behaviors, or it could just even just be and just because it's a childlike behavior, if it serves you then fine, but if it doesn't serve you then it doesn't serve you. You can't be an adult, a grown-up, and want to have adult relations with people and interact with people in a grown way and still act as a child. No, there's a pattern. If you haven't learned how to communicate, if you're stuck in a pattern of communication based on how you were as a child, right? Because of trauma, because of circumstance, because of environment, because of whatever, you have to know that that doesn't serve you anymore. All right. And we got to go heal that. We got to go heal that. So on page 27 of my book, there's this diagram in here that I talk about. There's the four levels of consciousness and the journey of aligning with the authentic self, and it gives you a perfect summary of what this looks like, right? So you go from this to me, by me, through me, as me, and then you also have the authentic self and the ego self. Okay, and your authentic self is the one that you're remembering. The authentic self sits at the top of the circle. This is who you are, right? And then as you live your life, you go down around the circle. By the time you reach the 180, the bottom degree of the circle, you are at the ego self. There's no time frame on when you get to that point, but that's kind of where like the inner child lives, right? The inner child has gotten so used to surviving, doing to me, it went through to me and to by me, right? And it doesn't really know how to shift and go back to the other, to restore, to get back to the authentic self, right? So this healing of remembering who you are is going from the 180 degree of the circle, the bottom of the circle, and coming up on that left side, returning back to the authentic self. Healing that inner child is taking the child, that those the ego based things, and remembering that you don't have to operate that way, and restoring remembrance of who you are. Okay. So yeah, look at that. That's on page 47 of the book. This is a great example of kind of what we're talking about in layman's terms of what that looks like, of remembering who you are. You start with the knowing. You get to the point, the inner child is kind of like fully in this world, doesn't understand or remember who they are at all. All they know is everything else. They don't know themselves at all. And then the remembering of that, it's getting back to that point. Okay. So here, healing is remembering. Yes, healing is remembering. All right. Who you were before the fear, before the rejection, before the conditioning, before you were born. Now you're going to say, smart video girl, how am I supposed to remember who I was before I was born? That is when you need to go back and watch the other episodes of the PodClass where it says, who are you when nobody is watching? What is that thing that resonates within you? Right? Are you listening to your intuition? Are you listening to the voices in your head that are guiding you in the right way? Or are you listening to the conditioning, the fear, the rejection? Because the distinction between the two, being able to be discipline your mind and understanding where that's coming from, can help you determine whether you are operating, making judgments or decisions from fear-based judgments, rejections, conditioning, or truth, the truth of your being, which is eternal. who you were before you were born. This is not foo foo la la. This is basis. Like, it sounds so easy to understand that it's like it can't be this easy. But the truth of the matter is that it is. If you can understand and grasp this concept of who you are, your being eternal, that you were created, who you were, your purpose, who was designed before you were born. You came here with the blueprint. If you understand that and remember that, then you have a better chance of navigating through some of the muck of life. You understand what fear is and rejection and the condition. You can see it. You become aware and understand that it is, even if you don't know exactly who you were before you were born. You can know that you were something greater than your circumstances. So healing, doing the work and keeping the faith in the healing journey. Maybe I should call that the healing journey. It's remembering who you are, aligning with your authentic self. Yes. That's what this is about, right? So, what part of me did I silence in order to feel accepted? What part of me did I not acknowledge? What part of me did I hide in shame? What part of me was cowering and just in the shadows? What parts of me? That's the part you need to align with, right? So I have had an experience with my inner child, and I did it was like a real moment, right? A real moment where I was like, I really had to go back and get this inner child, these feelings, these thoughts, because that's what they were. And when I found them, listen to me, when I found them, it was like they were in a dark corner, like under a bed almost, curled up in a dark corner as me. And these feelings, you have to, your inner child, understand this. Your inner child is scared. It doesn't know the world you know. You have, and your healing process is to reassure your inner child that the universe is working in your favor. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be scared of, because you were created for this. And everything that you need on this journey has already been laid out for you. I know that up until this point, wherever your inner child is, it has been scary for you. And you have to talk to, listen, you have to talk to yourself like this. And if you don't have somebody if you can't do it, you need to find somebody who can talk to you like this. I know it's been scary for you. The reality is, yes, it was scary. And I understand that you did what you did. And I understand that you thought that you were helping me out and that you are protecting me. And you know what? I appreciate what you have done. I showed gratitude. That's gratitude. Hello, gratitude. It's a frequency. It makes inner child feel seen, heard, appreciated. You have to do this for yourself. You get inner child to align with present day self, who knows that they are walking, who knows where they're going, who knows that there's power. But you can't get to where you're going. Present day, today day, can't get to where future is going If inner child is not willing to come along, because inner child is going to pull and tug at you every single time. You have to get inner child aligned with who you are present day, so that you can walk fully into where it is that you are going. That's why healing is remembering who you are. You get that inner child to remember who the hell it is. Inner child be like, oh yeah. Because listen, your inner child can go from the one who was holding you back to the one who keeps you moving forward. Inner child has the creativity. Inner child has the imagination. Inner child, once it lets go of that fear, probably is you're gonna have to put reins on that. Mm. What it say? Jesus said that unless people change and become like little children, they will never enter the kingdom. That's what I'm saying. We leave our inner children, we leave our inner child, and we want to know why. Because we leave our imagination behind. We leave the purest essence of who we are when we came into this space behind. And so remembering that inner child, getting aligned with that inner, tapping into the purest essence. That's like what? That's like the fountain of youth. That's what they call it, right? Why do they call it the fountain of youth? You tell me. I don't know. Maybe we can do a show on that, maybe. Okay. So we have to get back to that. So listen, y'all, you know what time it is? It's quiz time. I've been talking right my mouth. So let's go to the quiz. Let's get to the quiz. Let's get to it. All right, quiz time. So I hope you have we have been taking quizzes. All right, this is a PodClass for real, because we want to measure and gauge how tapped in, how connected are you to your inner self? Okay? Are you really present? Are you really connected to who you are? First question, 1 through 5. I understand why my emotional triggers come from. Do you understand why you get ticked off? I know. I know. I might fuss and cuss at you. I know exactly. I know exactly why. I'm present to it. I know where my emotional triggers come from, and I know I'm healing. Remembering who I am, and see the person who I am. The reason why I get triggered sometimes is because there's some certain level of disrespect, and see the way I'm built. Disrespect is not something that I take lightly to. So that's why I was triggered. So I have to be able to understand my emotional triggers, put those in check, and set clear boundaries so that you know how to honor and respect their self. So for you, do you understand where your emotional triggers come from? 1 is a no, 5 is a yes. I know. I know. I'm deeply connected. All right. Next one. I allow myself to feel emotions fully. 1, no, you do not. You do not let yourself get emotional. Okay. 5 is yes, you do. Yes, you do. Now, let's be clear on this, because people talk about emotions, and I like emotions. I talk about emotions in the book. You have to understand emotions, and you have to understand emotions are frequency. Emotions are vibration. They emote frequency. Okay? So, understanding your emotions, feeling them fully could be powerful if you understand and if you're connected to your inner self, okay? Own your feelings. That's what I'm going to say. All right. Next one. I can identify patterns in my behavior. 1, you're disconnected from yourself and you cannot identify patterns. Or 5, you are deeply connected and you understand the patterns in your life. You can articulate them. You know exactly what they are, okay? The next one. I treat myself with compassion. 1, not so much. I'm not connected. I don't love myself. 5 is I am very compassionate with myself. I give myself grace. I understand that my inner child is a very long way away from here, and I give myself grace. And that's how I speak to my inner child, and that's why my inner child is feels safe and being vulnerable and aligning and coming along with this healing journey with me. Okay. All right. And then the last one is I feel connected to my authentic self. One is not so much, you are disconnected from self. And 5 is deeply connected. You feel like, back to that first episode of the season where you know who you are. It resonates. Who you are when nobody is watching. You are connected to your authentic self in that way. You show up and you're breathing. You know that the truth of your being is eternal. Yes. All right. So add up your scores. All right. The range is on the bottom there. All right. 1 to 9, you're disconnected from yourself. Again, this is not for judgment, it's for awareness, it's for presence, not perfection. All right. You don't have to be perfect. All right. All right. 10 through 14, you're becoming aware. You know that there's some work to be done. 15 through 19 is you're reconnecting with your inner self. You understand, you may understand where some of your triggers come from, but you're not compassionate with yourself. Or you're compassionate with yourself, but you still don't understand where some of these triggers come from. And you still got some work to do to heal and get through some of that. All right. And then the last one is you're deeply connected. You know who you're connected with your inner self. Y'all are in alignment. You and God are in alignment. You, God, self, it's all there. Inner child, you guys are all in alignment. All right. Okay. So let's go to the quote because I think I skipped the quote for the week. So this quote is healing is not becoming something new. It's returning to who you were before you had to protect yourself. And again, what I say about the inner child? The inner child is only out here looking out for you. The inner child's like, no, don't do that. No, because the last time we did that, that didn't work out. Even if that last time was 20, 30 years ago. So you're not becoming something new. It's returning to who you were before your innocence was stolen, right? Before you were conditioned or programmed, before you lost and before you had to protect yourself, before you felt like you were thrown to the wolves, before you was in this wild and crazy, wild west world that we live in. So you're not becoming something new, you are being restored. Healing is remembering for restoration so that you can be restored. My sister did a Transformation Tuesdays last night on Pronoy Starseed podcast about the last dragon. And the search he was on, Bruce Leroy was on a search trying to find the master. When the whole time he was the master. What in him? Back to the question of the day, right? What in him allowed him to think that he was not the master? What in him caused him to feel like he was not the master? So, what part of me did I silence in order to feel accepted? What part of me am I not allowing to be accepted, to play small, to feel protected? Instead of healing and letting my little light shine. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's the quote for the week. And of course, we got homework. So first of all, did anybody do the homework from last week? The last week's homework was gratitude. Gratitude is a frequency, and I believe that was last week. And it was to find every night, do 3 things that you were grateful for, and then feel it. Okay. And now I'm gonna be honest with you. I did the homework. right? But I didn't always feel it, if I'm being honest. I didn't always feel it, okay? But there was this one time last week, during the week, where I felt it in my bones, and it was overwhelming. It was the overflow of gratitude for the moment of the gifts of just being able to receive the abundance of creativity that was just pouring into me. That's what it was. It was beautiful. I felt it, and in that moment I was reminded of the homework and what gratitude was and what it means to not just be grateful for it, but to feel it. And when you are really grateful, you can feel it. You start to feel it. It's not just uh a habit, right? It becomes a lifestyle. So please share if you took the time to practice gratitude last week with three things each night and feel it. Let me know what that experience, share what that experience was to feel grateful. Okay. And what that actually did for your body. I mean, I know I felt it. It was like a Holy Ghost moment. Woof. A lot of shit. I could have started speaking in tongues. I could have started doing a whole lot of things. And I don't do none of those things. So I could have done all the things and I don't do none of those things. All right. All right, so this is the podcast homework for this week. This week is going to be fun. Write a letter to your younger self and tell them what they need to hear. Healing is remembering who you are. Healing is remembering who you are, right? And if our goal is to heal and bring our inner child into alignment with who we are right now so that we can move forward to continue to be our best selves, then our goal this week is to write a letter to communicate to our inner self, to our younger self, what they need to hear. You know what it is that you need to hear. You know what you did not get when you were younger that you know that you need it today. That would help your inner child feel secure. A lot of us have issues today. We have communication issues. We don't know how to talk to. We have fear of rejection, right? And if we're honest with ourselves, it came from some point, something happened, right? And the inner child got stuck. And so now today, at this big grown age, we say we don't know how to do something. That's because that's the inner child in us who got us in a chokehold and won't allow us to move forward. And we don't even realize it. We don't even realize it that we're based in a fear, it's based in rejection, it's based on conditioning. Because we forgot somewhere along the line that we were the sugar honey iced tea. I said it already. You forgot. Now you gotta remember. That's it. Now you gotta remember. Healing is remembering. So write a letter and remind your younger self of who the hell you are with compassion. Acknowledge the feelings, not out of weakness, not out of shame, but out of compassion and understanding for who you are. What did we say? The goal of the intention for this show was to not fix ourselves. We don't want to say fix yourself, young child, inner child self. It's to understand our inner child self. Our inner child self wants to be understood. It wants to be seen. It wants to be acknowledged. It wants to say, hey, I see you. And I understand why. Oh, and you want to practice gratitude? You thank your inner child. You say, you know what? Thank you so much because you hooked me up. You watched out for me in the times when I needed the when I didn't even realize it. You protected us. And I appreciate that. But we don't have to necessarily do that anymore because all things are working in our favor. And we were created for this. And look at what we have done, and you have helped in that. And if we're going to keep moving forward, I need you with me because you bring a piece of me that I miss. You bring the imagination, you bring the carefreeness, you bring the joy. And I appreciate you. And see if that don't jumpstart yourself. Don't make you feel good. I make me feel good. Remember, Simba. Yes. You must remember who you are. Remember who you are. Look, even and that's a great. Oh my God, thank you. See, that's what I'm saying. That's a great movie right there. Simba, inner child. He's seen his dad. He's seen his uncle kill his dad. Not really, not kill his dad. He didn't know his uncle killed his dad, but he saw his dad die at a young age. He thought he did it. He was trapped, inner child. He couldn't be the king. He couldn't step into he couldn't remember. He didn't remember that he was born to be the king. He was guilted and shamed into being the reason why his father died. That's not who you are. That's not who you are. That's a certain situation, circumstance. And you try to protect yourself by staying away, right? And then the process, your kingdom is overrun by darkness. You have to believe in yourself. Get back in line. Heal that inner child. Grow up. Become the king that you are. And reclaim your jungle. Reclaim your land, Simba. So reclaim yourself. Reclaim yourself. Take this journey with your inner child. Take the time to really, I'm telling you, write this letter to your inner child. And if the older you are, I'm telling you, the longer this story, this healing, your inner child's been waiting for you to hear and see it. And oh, how healing it can be. All right, so use the wisdom, use where you are, use everything that you've known, use the journey so far to step into this role. Write a letter to your inner child. Let them know how much you appreciate and love them, okay? And right now, in this moment, we are grateful for the versions of ourselves that survived, that are able to tell this story. And again, it survived. We survived. We made it through. Hallelujah. All right. All right, y'all. It's been another wonderful, great PodClass. All right. I want to thank you for joining me. And, we have walked through a couple different things here. It's been a great season so far. We'll be taking a little break. It's my birthday month, so y'all know. Hey, we will not have a show on my birthday, which is April 22nd. All right, but we're gonna keep this party moving. So happy April, happy full moon. Release what is not working for you. All right, and let's step into some newness. I will see you guys next week. I am Smart Video Girl, your host guide. Walk with me, y'all. The PodClass is dismissed.